If budgeting has never worked for you and you need a new way to go about this process, then you have to watch this video all the way until the end. I'm bringing on my personal money coach who has completely transformed the way that I go about the budgeting process so that you too can do the same in your life. I'm Amanda Horvath, and on this channel, I help eliminate the obstacles to getting you sitting where I'm sitting right now, in front of the camera, sharing your message with the world. So if in addition to getting help with your finances, you would also like to learn how to make more money online by marketing yourself, then be sure to subscribe and click the bell to be notified every time I release a new video. Today, I am bringing on Whitney Morrison onto the channel. She is a 6'2" generator for those of you that follow my human design side of my business as well, just so you know what energy she will be coming to with this information. And Whitney was my personal money coach that I mentioned at the beginning of this video that I worked with in 2021 to really help me understand where my money was going on a monthly basis, but also how to begin feeling less anxiety overall about whatever I have in my bank account, because it got to this point where it doesn't matter how much money you have. You can continue making money and making money and making money. But if you have this same scarcity mindset where you're feeling like every time you look at your bank account, there isn't enough, then it's going to show up in your reality as well. So I got so much value out of our work together, and I've been doing this business finance series on the channel and so badly wanted to dig into the personal finance side of how I approach this for my own world of finances, but it's not mine to share. So without further ado, I would like to introduce you to the one and only Whitney Morrison. Welcome to the show.
Oh, hey, Amanda. So good to be here.
Actually, real quick, before we even dive into this, I want everyone to know that everything we're going to be talking about is put together into an amazing download that you can grab in the description below. But in order to kind of get into it, I would love to kick this off by really hearing about your personal money story and how you came to be where you are today and came up with this wonderful system that we're going to be talking about.
Absolutely. So I'm a certified financial planner. I've been a financial planner for almost 12 years now, but I really like to tell people that I've actually only been a good financial planner for the past 5 of those 12 years. And the reason why for me was growing up, I lived in a household where I was not mirrored great financial habits. We didn't really have much money. My dad was a compulsive gambler and an alcoholic. And I just watched my mom spend her entire adult life cleaning up his financial messes. And I just knew I did not want that to be me. So I decided at a really young age that I was going to figure this money thing out. And so I decided to become a financial planner. But what happened for me was I joined my first financial planning firm, Wells Fargo Advisors, and I really learned all the foundations of wealth management, of investing, of selling investing portfolios. I took the test, Series 7, Series 66, certified life insurance agent in all the states, certified financial planner. I mean, really, I'm just telling you this to let you know really how much financial knowledge I had. But having all of that financial knowledge didn't actually help me in my own financial life until many, many years later. And the reason why was because it did not matter how much I knew about money. My relationship with money wasn't great. I experienced a lot of scarcity growing up, and I had a lot of stories around money that made it very difficult for me to actually be powerful with my money, even as a financial planner. So I felt like a huge fraud, and it really took me doing some different work with money, which is how my actual business was born, because I had to learn how to do a couple things. First of all, change my relationship with money, really understand how I thought about money, how I felt about money, and how that impacted my results. And I also had to create a new system for managing money because budgeting did not work for me. And that's really how money mapping was born. I could never keep up with budgeting, and I knew that I wanted to be prudent and intentional and in relationship with my money. So that's why I created this money mapping system. And truly, it's the foundation of my personal finances right now. And it's what I teach and coach all of my clients on as well to help them be more powerful with their money too.
Oh, it's so good. And Whitney has been crushing it from the Instagram game as well, of just like putting stuff out there. And you posted a reel recently that talked about this major goal that you achieved of hitting like $1 million net worth between you and your partner as well. So she's definitely practicing what she preaches, and it's working.
Yeah, over the past 6 years since I started changing my relationship with money, I have grown my net worth from negative 40,000. So I was in credit card debt and student loan debt to now over seven figures. And I really share that with people, one, because I'm really proud, huge financial milestone for me and my partner. But also, I share that because I just want people to know that this kind of financial change is really possible when you make the decision that you want to change your relationship with money, that you want to make your financial life a priority, which I highly suggest for everyone. You can actually make financial change quickly. It doesn't always have to be quickly, but you can if you want to.
Absolutely. No. And one other thing before we dive into the tactical tips here, too. Whitney is part of my friend group here in Austin as well. And she's like, I know all my friends' financial situations. Like, we all should be talking about money. And I love that. Like, that pops up for me often, of just like thinking about this kind of taboo topic that no one talks about. And it's something that we all should be talking about. So, permission right here and right now for those of you that are kind of have this story that, maybe you look at your reality of finances and it's not where you want to be. Acknowledge the fact that first and foremost, you are where you are, and that's okay. And let's now dive into like the tactical tips for how to really transform that so that you can see what's actually possible for you, because this is not rocket science. So I would first love to just talk about this concept of no budgeting. Like, how did you come up with this money map exercise that you have, and kind of tiptoe us into your thought process around this?
Yeah, so I definitely tried to budget initially, like early on in my financial situation. But what happened for me is I was like trying to manage like 50 different spending categories, and then I would like download Mint, and I never really understood how to take the budget that I had created on this spreadsheet or in this app and actually put it into practice when I was making real life financial decisions. Like when I was at the grocery store and I needed to know how much money I could spend, like I didn't understand how I could powerfully make that decision for myself in real time. Like, was I supposed to go through and like reconcile my spreadsheet like right there and understand I had $30 left or whatever? And I always found budgeting apps were miscategorizing my purchases. And so the data wasn't accurate anyway. And like going back through and cleaning that up felt like a full-time job. So for me, I would like keep it up for maybe 1 or 2 months, but like I just knew the long term of my life, budgeting wasn't going to work for me to do that. I just like didn't have the time and energy. So I just was thinking to myself, like, there's got to be a better way. I know that I want to be intentional with how I spend. I know I have this future that I want to live into with money. So how can I actually do this in a way that will work for me and will give me real-time feedback for my decisions? And that is how money mapping was born. And, the key tenets of money mapping are really, instead of having 20, 30 spending categories, I only have 2 spending categories that I care about and manage and watch ever. It is less time, less energy, less confusion, and that is exactly what I need in my life to be good with my money.
Amen. Don't we all?
Yeah. Yes.
So what are those spending categories, and how does one get started in this non-budgeting world?
Yeah, so there are, like I said, 2 main spending categories that I track over time. The first one is my bills, and that is my fixed monthly lifestyle expenses. So think mortgage, utilities, cell phone bill, internet, all of those things that don't change in price every single month. And it's really important to know how much your bills cost because it is your baseline financial expenses that are coming out of your bank account.
To add to that too, one of the things that really stood out to me with whenever you described this concept to me is like it clicked that if you do not walk out the door, this number does not change.
Yes.
Right? So it's everything that is going to be consistent, that is not requiring you to swipe in order to spend money. It is automatically being withdrawn from the account.
Yes, that is such a great distinction to make. I feel like whenever I describe it that way, everyone kind of gets it. Like, oh, I understand my bills are my baseline lifestyle expenses. And I like to tell my clients to keep their bills ideally between 30 to 35% of their gross income. And guess what happens with most of my clients when I go through this exercise is they actually discover that their bills are higher than that. And that's totally okay if that's where you're beginning on your financial journey. But in order for you to consistently save and invest, I like to help my clients get their bills into that range. And really, there are two ways to get there. It doesn't always have to be that you decrease your expenses, it can also be that you increase your income. And so it doesn't always have to be this scarcity, spend less exercise. I like to work with my clients holistically on their target spending percentages so they can really understand, okay, which way do I want to approach my finances and which way do I want to approach my growth?
So good. Okay, so we've described that first money category, which is the bills itself, the commitments that you have. And once again, y'all, the spreadsheet that you can gain access to below in the description below, this will have all of this broken down onto it for you where you can actually plug in your numbers. So I highly suggest doing this. So that's one category. Then you mentioned the habits. So explain to us a little bit about that and how that category works.
Sure. So the habits is all of your other kind of daily spending habits that you have. So think like groceries, gas, entertainment, buying yourself a new pair of shoes, buying your child ice cream out if you have kids, right? It's like all of those daily one-off expenses that come up. And the way that I like to use my habits is I separate the bills and habits into two different accounts. And I do that very strategically because I want to know exactly how much money I have in my habits throughout the month to spend. So that when I'm at the grocery store, I can simply log into my habits account and see exactly how much money I have left throughout the month and make a decision for myself in that moment, in real time. How do I want to use this money at the grocery store today, given I have $15 or 15 days left of the month? It was like this thing where all of a sudden I was empowered in the moment to be in relationship with my money, to make the best decision that I needed to make right in that moment.
Yeah. And one of the things that stood out to me with that is like, you were like, it's not budgeting. It is because you can take your whole month's expenses and spend it on a luxury item if you really wanted to, right? And go to your parents' house every night for dinner, right? But it's that you only have a certain amount to spend within the habits category. So instead of saying I can only spend this amount on groceries every single month, right? And looking when you're at the grocery store at that where you're at, which takes forever to add up all those categories, all the things, it is just pulling up. And for me, I put these different accounts onto different credit cards, and obviously pay them off every month as well. But like this credit card, pull it up. What's the balance? What's my goal for this month? How am I going to spend that? It's
Exactly.
genius.
Yeah. And really,
Okay. Yeah.
even more, I think what's also genius about it is it's actually, whether you're aware of it or not, it's actually cultivating a skill for you, which is to be in relationship with your money. Because what happens is your life happens. And so many of us try to fit our life, like fit our budget on top of our life and be like, no, life needs to happen this way. This is my budget. But like, let's be real, that's not how life happens. Life happens and it allows your money to happen as your life happens. It's so much more fluid. And it's also like being in a relationship. Like I always tell couples, for example, if y'all want to make financial decisions, you got three people you need to consult: you, your partner, and your money. Or if you're an individual, it's never just you making the decision. It's always you and your money making the decision. You got to bring that to the table to make that decision in real time. And for me, that's like a learning how to be in a good relationship with your money.
Which brings me to the next point, which is so very key, because here's the thing. So many people, they're going to watch this video. You're going to get the spreadsheet. You're going to add up all these categories. You're going to have these two things. You're going to start implementing this, right? But there's a catch, because your relationship that you've had with money up until this date and time, should you choose to change it, is one way. And a lot of us, you might hear, oh, it's when you make a decision, it's you, your partner, and your money, or you and your money. That alone triggers something, right? It triggers some sort of emotional response. And what I think really separates you, Whitney, and your system from how to go about doing this, and one of the reasons I wanted to pull you on, is because you take it that next step. And it's like, you say the whole, I've been a financial planner for 12 years, but a good one for 5. It's bringing in almost like the masculine and the feminine, right? There's the masculine side, which is the money and the numbers. And then there's the feminine side, which is going to be the relationship to it. So the first thing I want to say very quickly before you respond to any of that is, y'all, if you have to go check out Whitney's YouTube channel. It's amazing. And we're about to actually partner and ramp it up as well. And so you have to go subscribe to her channel. She already has a lot of great content on there. But to kind of give some people a tease or kind of get them started in how to think about the money mindset side of things, what tips might you have for, once again, tiptoeing into this department?
I think it's good first, just a lot of people don't even know what a money mindset is. When I talk to my clients, they're like, what do you mean money mindset? Everyone just thinks the world works a very specific way with money. But your money mindset, it's simply your thoughts about your money, the way that you think about your money. And you talked about that person who, when they're making the decision with themselves and their money, that could trigger an emotional response. Well, the reason why is because of the way that they think about money. If they think about money like, this is stressful, this sucks, money is limited, I don't have enough, of course, when they go to make a decision with money, with those thoughts about money, that's going to feel like a really triggering process. But it's learning to really see, oh, this is how I think about money. Interesting. And when I think about it this way, it feels really bad for me. And when it feels really bad, I do things like I avoid my money or I obsess about it. And when I avoid or obsess about my money, I don't treat it well. I don't look at my bank accounts. I spend it down, right? So I think the best thing to do is just start to be aware of the way that you think about money, and then give yourself a little bit of distance to be able to see, oh, this isn't actually the way everyone thinks about money, because some of us do. We're just like, yeah, this is the reality. This is how money works. It's the way you think about money. And the way you think about money is different than the way like I think about it versus you versus Elon Musk versus Donald Trump versus Mother Teresa. Like we could come up with all of and like think about how each of those different people think about money. And you get to decide we don't know this, but you get to decide how you want to think about it. And that's part of the work that I do with my clients, is not just setting up the systems, although it's very important, but it's the relationship to the systems, the relationship to the money that keeps you in the action of actually executing it.
So good. And I love this too, from a human design standpoint, to like weave that in. Like you're a role model, right? You're a 6'2", which is like that role model who's kind of the natural at this. And it's like, how do I have this natural kind of approach to my finances that has just come out? And you're like digging to try to find like, what is it? What is it that separates it? But it's like, you're just embodying it. And I think it's so beautiful to witness.
Thank you.
Okay, so with this, we have, and I'm tracking with kind of the audience. And by the way, y'all, if you're getting value from this, please be sure to click like and let us know. Drop your comments below with any questions that you have as well. Both Whitney and I can get in there and answer questions after the fact and kind of engage with you. So we have the habits or the commitments, then we have the habits category. But like, what if I want to take a trip? What if I want to buy a house? Like, is that falling within that? Or, and then how does that kind of continue breaking down into this overall big picture of this money map?
Yes, great question. So, what we've been discussing is your lifestyle, your baseline expenses that keep your life functional and operational. But just as you mentioned, we have goals. We have like futures that we want to live into, whether that's going to Bali for vacation or buying an investment property, or even being prepared in the event that we have to take our dog to the vet and we have a big vet bill, right? All of those things, all of the future expenses, they go in a different section of the money map. They go in your saving buckets. And just like the lifestyle, we have different buckets for our savings. And these are the baseline savings accounts that I think everyone needs to have. Number one, an emergency fund. Number two, a travel fund. And number three, this is really if you are interested in like real estate investing, which that for me, that's been a big part of my wealth building journey. I always have a down payment fund because I'm always saving for my next real estate property. But you may have something else that you want to save for, that you like college education for your child, for example.
A wedding, a baby.
A wedding. Yes.
A new car, whatever it is. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And a lot of people like to have all of their savings in one bucket, but that can be a very misleading way to look at your money. Because what our brains tend to do is we tend to allocate the same amount of money to one goal as another goal, to where then we have 20,000 total, but 20,000 of that is for our emergency fund and our down payment and our wedding. And really we've overspent our savings in all these different categories. So we need to have them broken out. We need to be intentional about how much money goes in each of these different areas of our life. And we have to decide that based off of our personal desire and what we want to, like what we really want to create in our future.
So good. Yeah. So you guys can see how such a simple yet effective approach that is completely different than anything that I've heard people talking about, how they approach their money, just having these individual buckets. And also at the same time, not only effective, but actually easy to implement once you get it in place. And it really starts, because it's simple, that's where the actual practice of what issues or what thoughts are coming up, what is my money mindset around this that is stopping me from implementing this simple framework, that's where it really starts to rise to the surface. So obviously we can't dive into everything within this video. There's so much goodness to continue sharing. So Whitney, how can people continue tapping into your world with money and getting better and better with their finances?
Yes. So like Amanda shared at the beginning of this video, I have a money mapping training that takes this, exactly what Amanda and I are talking about, and has some nice visual aspects so you can really like see this, which I think is a really important part to learn the system. So you can watch the training. You can also download the free money map and you can build your money map. Another section of the money map that we didn't talk about today is investments. That's included in the training. So definitely check that out. I also work with clients one-on-one. So to actually build your money mapping system and also start to expand your money mindset to actually evolve into the financial future that you want. And I also have a course, a money course that is, I actually just went through a launch, but my next money course opens on January 22nd. And that's really, really good. It's money mapping and mindset work. Yep.
Amazing. Well, you guys heard it. Go ahead, follow her on YouTube, grab that money mindset training. It is truly amazing. And yeah, if you're getting that response or whatever your authority is from a human design standpoint to work with Whitney one-to-one, I can highly recommend it because yeah, I did it and it totally transformed my relationship with money. So, Whitney, thank you so very much for coming on the show. I so appreciate you.
Thank you, Amanda.
And thanks for watching. If you'd like to keep digging into finances, I'll have several videos up on the screen here that you can watch next. And once again, go grab that money mindset training in the description below. And I'll see you in the next video.